Hey everyone, Cetra here, bringing you another fantastic video from the Cetra Nation. You like my new apartment? I'm over here for college and I decided to do the apartment rather than the dorms this time around because I was restricted in the dorms and honestly I have a lot more space, a lot more freedom, and I can build a better space for recording. However, it's not all perfect when you live with Cetra Echo. But that's enough of that. Although, if you are interested in a room tour / apartment tour, like the video and comment down below. It's been a hot minute since I've recorded a video, although I do still stream, link in the bio. So let's get into it. Since we are coming up to the 1-year anniversary of the PlayStation 5, November 12th, 2020, I figure since I promised I would make a video on it, to finally talk about my experience with the PlayStation 5. Now, before we get into it, remember, I'm just your average consumer, and what I say is purely my opinion. It is your money at the end of the day, it's your choice, and if you already have one, maybe you can tell me why I'm wrong or write in the comments. So first off, my pre-order experience. While I hear horrible stories all the time about people fighting and struggling to get the PlayStation 5, honestly, it's also sad to hear. To be honest, it was the smoothest experience I have ever had. After the live stream of the reveal trailer of the console, which I did do a reaction on a stream, which you can also find on our second channel, I just assumed that the pre-orders would go up right away, and as soon as it was over, yeah, like I went on Best Buy, and just like you buy on Amazon or anything else, I added it to my cart and Best Buy sent me a confirmation code. No hiccups on the internet, no cart malfunctions, no problems at all. I legit had no idea people were waiting for an official announcement afterwards, and I felt so bad like an hour later seeing people on Twitter struggling with this. I tried to get a second one to do a giveaway for a deserving person and not a scalper, but no dice. But don't worry, I still struggle with getting a Series X and a RTX 30 series card at the moment, so I'm not fully out of the problem. But fast forward to launch day, and I managed to get mine. I had a video planned, but it wasn't much of anything. So at launch, I got to play Black Ops Cold War, Spider-Man Miles Morales because I'm a big fan, and of course Astro's Playroom, which was available to every PlayStation 5 owner for free. So far, as of today, built up a decent library and the games are really fun, but doesn't warrant buying the system. First off, we gotta talk about the controller, and I gotta be honest, since literally the first memory I have, Xbox has just always had the better controller. Now, there's a case to be made with the PlayStation 2, although in my opinion, the definitive controller of that generation was the GameCube. But besides that, the 360 killed the PlayStation 3. Xbox One still nailed it. Not the console, the controller. And PlayStation, however, was on the right track with the DualShock 4, but there were still slight issues that just needed to just be worked out. Well, with the DualShock 5, for the first time that I've ever said this, PlayStation has actually beaten out the Xbox in terms of the controller. And to be honest, it's not hard to tell why. Great haptic feedback, better form factor in my opinion. It has USB-C, which I think Xbox does now, but still. It has a physical mute button on the controller. And honestly, it's just insane the kind of things that they've implemented within this controller. Apologize for sweats. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it and comparing it to the Xbox, like, look, I love the Series X controller and it's a great controller, but to be honest, it's still the same thing from last generation. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And by no means does that mean that the Xbox is a bad controller. As long as it does what it's meant to do, it's a perfectly great controller. But if I wanted to choose between the two, I would honestly just pick the PS5. Look, there is no downsides to this controller. Maybe the battery life could be better, but besides that, it's honestly a great controller. I use it when I'm playing on PC, I use it when I'm playing on PlayStation, so yeah, 10 out of 10. However, let's get to the actual hardware of the console. The specs have been greatly improved. Ability for ray tracing and higher frame rates, like, I mean, oh my gosh, 120 FPS support on games and other features is such an awesome thing. I'll get more into that later. The ability to also record and stream at high frame rates and a high resolution compared to the PlayStation 4, because to be honest, I hated the way the PlayStation 4 did. It was cool that you could do it, but the quality just sucked. PlayStation 5 really killed it. And then if you add on the camera, it has a lot of great features to be able to customize your streams and do all kinds of things to really make it your own. And to be honest, there are some people who go really far out for me to tell whether they are streaming on a PlayStation or not, because sometimes you can tell if they're streaming from a console. When it comes to the PlayStation 5, they've done a really good job on that. Now, I'm sure you've heard it a million times, the SSD, the SSD, the SSD. You know what? Screw that SSD. I don't care how fast it is. Why the hell are we stuck with 600 and somehow gigabytes? Bruh, you could have at least started with us with a terabyte. That is a big downfall in my opinion. Games are fat as hell nowadays. There is no way you're gonna tell me that you're gonna put a lot of games on a little 600 gigabyte hard drive. Yes, it's like 825, but still you're forgetting that the operating system and the other stuff that's pre-installed, you actually end up with like 600. And the fact that a lot of other SSDs, that not all SSDs, but the ones that are specifically supported with the PlayStation are expensive as hell, it makes it hard to really expand that storage now. Now, no doubt, years from now, I'm sure they're gonna be great cheap prices and you're gonna be able to pop in a cheap one with like 3 terabytes. I'm sure of it. But honestly, with PC, you just have more options. And while Xbox, oof, we'll get to that in another video, it's not doing so great itself. PlayStation had the opportunity to do better and they really dropped the ball on that. Now, all this means absolutely nothing without talking about the games. Third-party games, it's hard to say right now, because when it comes down to it, it comes down to the fact that they are developing it for both PlayStation 5 and PS4. And while technically speaking, with the way the PC platform works, this whole notion that, oh, if you make games for PS4, it's gonna ruin the quality of PS5 games, that's certainly not true. Yes, I can see how it will take development away from just focusing on one platform. So yes, it won't be fully optimized, sure, but PC comes in all different shapes and sizes. Games have been able to adapt to that kind of platform for years now. So the fact that this whole thing about last gen and next gen isn't really big of an issue anymore. And to be honest, some of these games, again, minus ray tracing and minus 120 FPS, they are almost identical in my opinion. Maybe with just better anti-aliasing maybe. Obviously, we're not talking about Cyberpunk. That's just hot garbage. To be honest, when it comes to your multi-platforms, it's like you're not really missing much. But we're not here to talk about those games because most people care about the first-party games. God of War, Spider-Man, Ratchet & Clank, The Last of Us, you name it. A lot of these games are just very popular with PlayStation owners. Look, whether you like the games or not, whether you like these recent titles, that's up to you and that's your opinion, that's debatable. But there is no hiding the fact that people do like these games. People are excited that the ports are coming on PC and they're great games, all right, to some people. And objectively, they sell a lot of copies. So yes, these are games that people would go out for. And in those cases, some of them are great. I can't speak for all games because again, I don't own every single game. But for a game that I do heavily enjoy, franchises I should say, the Spider-Man games, they run phenomenal on the console. And honestly, I am glad I picked up a PS5 just for that alone. For me, may I add, cannot stress that enough. For me, if you don't like these games, tough luck, because you're not really going to get that big of a difference on next gen in my opinion, which honestly comes down to the downsides. Look, there's a lot of great games, and look, if you like a game, you'll pay for it. It's your money, your decision. But $70 freaking for a next gen upgrade, that is some bull crap in my opinion. Now, yes, I'm gonna have a flood of comments, I'm sure of it. People just talking about the idea that $70 is because it's harder to develop, blah 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 blah. I don't see that on PC. PC players are still paying the $60 and they're still getting all the next gen features plus more. This is clearly a way for them to start raising the prices on games. knowing that people will be willing to pay these prices. Now, luckily for a platform like Xbox, I have Game Pass. So it's a pretty great deal knowing that I can just pay this monthly subscription. A lot of my favorite games, especially Halo Infinite, which I will stream by the way, will be very accessible to me. That $70 gap means nothing to me. But on PlayStation, there is no such deal because PlayStation Now is just trash. Let's be real. And paying $70 for a game, especially games that are like multiplats like Call of Duty, Battlefield, NBA, not worth it at all. There are probably a couple games that are $70, but the point is, I paid Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War $60 on PC, full ray trace, 165 frame rates, mad. While on PlayStation, I'm stuck at 120 and it was a $70 purchase for the next gen upgrade. Look, if you're struggling with money, because I get it, we just came out of a rough pandemic and some people took it harder than others, but you really want to get one, just wait. It's about like $400 to $500 and it's just a piece of plastic, and I promise you there'll be plenty of games still released on the PlayStation 4. And while the graphics are improved on PlayStation 5, it isn't everything. If you really want some form of upgrade, maybe you can go for a PlayStation 4 Pro, but nothing over $200 in my opinion. It's something that you should not go out of your way for or be paying large amounts for scalpers. Which, by the way, I'm saying this right now to the world. Do not support scalpers and paying for these ridiculous prices. Pay at legitimate sources and let's keep the market going, because if these scalpers don't get money, I promise you we could see some of this start to go away. Right now, the market is bad for electronics, and the best thing to do is just wait till the chip manufacturers and the console manufacturers can meet up with the demand. If you play multi-platform games, I also recommend just waiting to upgrade because there is no real benefit at this time, period. However, if you have the money and the ability to purchase it, there are still some factors that make it great. The 1080p 60 footage that goes a long way for great content creation without a PC, may I add, and in conjunction with a $60 PlayStation camera and a headset, and you got a good choice of starting to make really good content. The SSD is great and fast alongside the strong controller, and you have some great experiences, minus the fact that the SSD is a very small storage. But minus first party games, it's seriously on par with Xbox and PC. So to say that one is better than the other, right now it's really too early to say, and I don't see it on any other thing, although I will say it wouldn't be equal with PC because I still think PC has an advantage at the moment, but that's another video. And with the increasing game prices on these next gen consoles, it's really hard to recommend, but if you're definitely a big PlayStation fan and you absolutely love these exclusives, then it's a really easy recommendation to make for you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk down about the PlayStation 5, but do understand that it is far from perfect. Just keep your expectations reasonable, as everything has its limitations, but the pros does make it worth it. Will I continue to use it myself? Of course! It's full fun, and playing with friends just adds on to the experience. But let's not forget, with more games supporting cross-platform, at the end of the day, if it's a cross-multi-platform or whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna play on PC. It's just a better experience in my opinion. But for those exclusives, yeah, play it on PlayStation. Some things I would like to see is improvements on the SSD pricing and availability, because let's be real, it is ridiculous, and I think for the PS5, paying $200 is not worth it at this time. But I will say that if they do and make it more reasonable for the average consumer, I think it'll be a great thing. I would like to see more customization features in terms of both the outside hardware and features that are within the game. And just like Xbox is doing, they should not only continue to make more games support 120 frames per second, but as well as to make past titles take advantage of the hardware. Similar to how Battlefield 4, a game that came out on the original Xbox One, is now running at 120 FPS on the Series X. And please, Sony, wake the hell up. Please add support for 1440p. It's not that hard. Come on. Tell me your experience about the PS5. Do you have one? Are you struggling to get one? Do you hate it or love it? Do you agree or disagree with what I said? Tell me about everything and all your feelings, comments, concerns in the comment section below. And again, as well as if you want to see me do an apartment/room tour. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video from the Cetra Nation. Don't forget to visit all their links in the description down below. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and always remember to keep it real in the Cetra Nation.
Yo!